They say money talks, but that day, it didn't say a damn thing when a teenage boy had to jump in and save a millionaire's drowning daughter while 40 rich folks just stood there sipping rosé. Yeah, that happened. Thiago Santos, 17, son of the cleaning lady, dove straight into the Whitmore's glittering pool, fully clothed, without hesitation, while the rest of the guests looked around like someone else was gonna handle it. Let me back up a sec. Isabella Whitmore, sweet girl, 15, cerebral palsy, couldn't swim without her special chair. That day, something went wrong with the equipment. She started slipping under, panic all over her face, and everyone froze. Someone even yelled, "Somebody do something," but not a single person moved. God forbid they get their designer shoes wet. Thiago didn't even flinch. He knew that house inside out. His mom, Dona Carmen, had been cleaning it for over a decade. He jumped in, pulled Isabella out, got her breathing again. The girl clung to him, gasping, thanking him between coughs. And just when you think, okay, maybe this is the part where the rich dad says thank you and hugs him or something, nope. Richard Whitmore stormed in, red-faced, and barked, "What the hell are you doing in the social area? I mean, really? The boy just saved your daughter's life and that's what you open with?" Thiago stood there, dripping wet, calm as ever. You could see it in his eyes. He knew exactly what kind of man Richard was. Isabella tried to speak up. "Dad, he saved me," but he snapped at her too. Told her she shouldn't have been using that defective equipment. Then he looked back at Thiago and said, "You'll regret setting foot where you weren't invited." Now most kids would have been scared stiff. But Thiago? He had that look, the kind that says, "You just gave me a reason." That same night, Richard fired Carmen. No thank you, no severance. Just cold dismissal. You have 24 hours to leave. And don't let that brat near this property again. Isabella tried to push back, so he punished her too. Took her phone, cancelled her swimming therapy, hired a full-time nurse to watch her like she was some kind of prisoner in her own home. All because she showed kindness to the wrong person, apparently. Meanwhile, back at their tiny apartment, Thiago wasn't sulking. He was focused. Quiet. But dangerous, the kind of dangerous that doesn't throw punches. Just opens laptops. "Don't worry, Mom," he said. "We'll be fine." And I swear to you, he meant it. Turns out, Thiago had been teaching himself to code for years. Got an old computer from a junkyard, fixed it up, learned everything on his own. While Whitmore sipped wine and played king, this kid was building an arsenal of information. And when he started pulling threads, public records, shell companies, shady real estate deals, it all began to unravel. Here's where it gets wild. One of Thiago's teachers, Janet Morrison, used to be an investigative journalist, spotted what he was doing right away. "You're onto something big, aren't you?" she asked. And he didn't even deny it. Just showed her what he'd found. She brought in a lawyer, Marcus Chun, who handled civil rights cases pro bono. That's when it stopped being personal and started getting surgical. At the same time, Isabella was trapped at home but not blind. Her nurse, Rosa, soft-spoken but sharp, let her sneak calls to Thiago. "There's a secret office," Isabella whispered one night. "He keeps files and there's a safe behind Grandpa's picture." That was the last puzzle piece Thiago needed. 2 weeks later, Whitmore woke up to the kind of nightmare you can't buy your way out of. His name plastered across every news site: fraud, money laundering, labor violations, you name it. And the kicker? His own security system had been hacked by a 17-year-old, exposing recordings from that basement office. Every threat, every smug comment about people like them, it was all there. And at the bottom of the leak, one line, "Mr. Whitmore, never underestimate who's watching." Richard tried to fight it, of course. lawyers, statements, the whole 9 yards. But when the FBI shows up at your mansion and your own daughter's testimony is part of the case, it's over. Isabella finally got to speak freely. Said everything. About how her father treated her, about Thiago's kindness, about the fear. And people listened. Cut to 6 months later, Whitmore's in federal prison, his empire auctioned off, his name radioactive. And Thiago? He's walking through the halls of Harvard on a full ride, majoring in computer science and digital law. A kid from nowhere, who got kicked out of a mansion, now being studied in classrooms as a case in justice, strategy, and what happens when you push the wrong person too far. Isabella's thriving too now with a new guardian family, video chatting with Thiago weekly, speaking up for disabled kids, telling her story loud and clear. And Carmen? She's running her own cleaning company now. Pays fair wages, hires women from the neighborhood, gives them dignity. When someone asked how she raised a kid like Thiago, she just smiled and said, "I let him see the world as it is but taught him to believe he could change it." You know what the wildest part is? Richard never saw it coming. He thought he was dealing with a poor kid looking for handouts, not a strategist who would build a digital war room at his kitchen table. So here's the question, was this justice? Or just the smartest revenge story you've ever heard? Let me know in the comments. Do you think Thiago went too far? Or was this exactly what men like Richard deserve? Because sometimes, the best way to teach someone their place is to build something so big, they realize they were never ready to see you rise.